Okay. I mean, the last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
What kind of person was she? I mean, what did you see her?
I mean, she's as nice as can be. I mean, very personable, very much a people person.
Do you know any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, we just don't know where she is.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. That's why we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
Stephen McDaniel was a law student at Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. Like many of his peers, he lived in an apartment complex close to campus, an area populated by fellow students and young professionals. Despite his quiet demeanor, Stephen's presence did not draw much attention. He was seen by others as somewhat introverted, keeping mostly to himself, and he rarely interacted with his neighbors. One of Stephen's neighbors was Lauren Giddings, a vibrant and outgoing young woman who was also studying law at Mercer. Lauren was well liked by her peers. She was known for her warm personality, dedication to her studies, and her positive outlook on life. As she prepared to graduate and take the bar exam, Lauren's future appeared bright, filled with opportunities and potential. In late June 2011, Lauren Giddings suddenly disappeared. Her friends and family became increasingly concerned when she failed to respond to messages and missed planned events. After several days of no communication, they reported her missing to the authorities, sparking a widespread search effort. The initial search efforts were fruitless, and the situation grew more dire as time passed without any sign of Lauren. Friends, family, and volunteers scoured the area, hoping to find clues to her whereabouts. The case gained significant media attention, with local news outlets covering the search extensively, and the community rallied together in hopes of a positive outcome. As part of the investigation, the police interviewed residents of the apartment complex, including Stephen McDaniel. During his interview, Stephen's behavior was notably peculiar. He appeared anxious, his responses were vague, and he struggled to maintain eye contact. This raised suspicions among the investigators, who began to look at him more closely as a potential suspect. As the investigation continued, the police uncovered several disturbing pieces of evidence. Among the most significant was a search history on Stephen's computer that included terms related to the disappearance. In addition, surveillance footage from the apartment complex showed Stephen near Lauren's apartment in the days leading up to her disappearance, behavior that seemed out of place given his usual reclusive nature. The investigation reached a turning point when police made a grim discovery near the apartment complex. This discovery led them to focus even more intently on Stephen McDaniel, as the evidence seemed to increasingly point in his direction. The authorities collected and analyzed this evidence, building a case that suggested Stephen had been involved in Lauren's disappearance. Despite the mounting evidence, Stephen initially maintained his innocence, denying any involvement in the incident. His denials were firm, but his behavior remained unsettling to those around him. His calm, almost detached demeanor during interviews only added to the suspicion that he was hiding something. As the pressure from the investigation intensified, Stephen's resolve began to waver. Faced with overwhelming evidence and the prospect of a trial, he eventually confessed to his involvement in Lauren's disappearance. His confession came just a week before his trial was scheduled to begin in April 2014. In his confession, Stephen provided details that only someone involved in the incident would know. His admission was a turning point in the case, confirming what investigators had suspected for some time. The confession was thorough and left little doubt about his role in the events that had transpired. With his confession, the legal proceedings took a different course. Instead of a lengthy trial, Stephen was sentenced based on his admission of guilt. He received a life sentence, with the possibility of parole after 30 years. This sentence meant that Stephen would spend decades in prison, reflecting on his actions and the impact they had on so many lives. The sentencing marked the end of a tragic chapter for Lauren's family and friends, but the pain of her loss remained. The Mercer University community, where both Lauren and Stephen had once been students, was deeply affected by the case. It served as a stark reminder of how unforeseen events can shatter the lives of those involved. In the years since the case concluded, Lauren Giddings' memory has been honored by those who knew and loved her. She is remembered for her kindness, her dedication to her studies, and the bright future that was tragically cut short. Various initiatives and memorials have been established in her name, ensuring that her legacy lives on. The case of Stephen McDaniel and Lauren Giddings also left a lasting impact on the broader community. It highlighted the importance of vigilance, safety, and the need to support one another in times of crisis. The events that unfolded in Macon, Georgia, serve as a poignant reminder that even in places where we feel safe, unexpected and tragic occurrences can happen. The initial search efforts were fruitless, and the situation grew more dire as time passed without any sign of Lauren. Friends, family, and volunteers scoured the area, hoping to find clues to her whereabouts. The case gained significant media attention, with local news outlets covering the search extensively, and the community rallied together in hopes of a positive outcome. As part of the investigation,